Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome back to another DCO Live. I'm laughing because I almost kind of forgot to jump on here because I was doom scrolling on Instagram. I was doing some reels and went down a rabbit hole, and it was just ridiculous. I don't know if you guys do that, but oh man, I was sitting here and just absolutely just got lost in it, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So, but who all we got on here tonight? I know I saw Steve on here. Steve, how you doing? Brian's on, Tony's on, Russell, Michael, good to see all you guys. So getting ready for Halloween, if you can see on the screen there. StreamYard had a couple of overlays that I threw up there. I thought that was kind of neat. I mean, you got a couple of different ones. I don't know, I was kind of playing around with them. You know, when you're sitting here, 10, 15 minutes before you get a little bored. So you start looking at this stuff. I don't know, guys, but it's going to be one of those nights. Everett, good to see you. Good to see you, man. So, did anybody do any fishing last weekend? Let me know. Throw down there in the comments and kind of let me know how you guys did last weekend. Let me see. Did I get out? Yes, I got out on Saturday. It wasn't the best day of fishing for me on Saturday. I didn't go out on Sunday, but the wind started to pick up a little bit in the afternoon. I did end up catching one flounder kind of late in my trip. I was out there right at about sunrise, which was, I think, 7:30 last Saturday, and didn't catch my first fish until, gosh, almost noon, 11:30, something like that. And it was 16 and 3/4 inch flounder. It was a decent flounder. I caught him at a creek mouth on, I believe it was the Prawn Star. But yeah, it was just kind of a hunt and peck day. I just never could get on anything. I couldn't find a pattern. It was really hard to find any bait fish. It was a high tide. And so, seeing the bait fish on top of the water is usually pretty difficult at that time because, one, they're usually pushed up into the grass and you can't really see them move around. So, I was just kind of hunting and pecking along. I threw some top water, maybe trying to draw some stuff out, went subsurface, and just couldn't find them until I finally got that one flounder that I ended up posting there on Instagram. So Heath jumped on. Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, so only fished the one day. I've been editing some video. I got a video coming out. I don't know if it'll drop tomorrow. Probably more than likely on Saturday, it'll end up dropping. So take a look for that. And if you guys don't know, I did get a new crop of stickers in. So if you guys are looking for a way to support the channel, those are the stickers right there that I ended up going with. I designed all of these. It took me a little while. I did, some small little changes and edits and, trying to get the colors right and all that kind of stuff. You guys have seen the DCO Nation one. That was actually the one that you guys voted on several months ago when, I asked your opinion. So I went ahead and I kept those, and I changed up a little bit of the fish on, and then the Dead Calm Outdoors one with the redfish tail. I ended up designing that one. So, if you guys are looking for a way to support the channel, they're $4 each or 3 for $10. Just shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram, and we'll hook up. I'll get your address. And right now I'm only doing Venmo. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there for you guys. And so if you want to do that, that would be great. And I really do appreciate all of the guys who have already reached out. I've got a bunch back there that are ready to go out. I've already mailed out several and given a couple out to some guys that I've met kind of out in the wild, as they say. A couple guys at work wanted some. So, but yeah, so I really appreciate all the support, guys. I really do. I never talk about, how you guys can support the channel. I just don't do that kind of stuff. I've always told you guys, I'll never do a Patreon page. I don't feel like, I can take people's money just for information. We do that every week anyway. So, there's no reason to do it and to join a club. So I don't do it. There are other channels that do that kind of stuff, which is great. I just don't do it. I figure that if you guys would want to spend your hard-earned money, you would want to get something back. So that's why I do some kind of merchandise, the hats or stickers and stuff like that. So, but Tony, appreciate it. Thanks, man. They look good. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And then Michael said, Flounder are doing good. Yeah. So the Flounder are definitely, chewing right now. A couple of weeks ago, I caught a bunch of short flounder, and I think we're getting really close to all of these big females working their way offshore now. This is the time of the year that they're going to go to all the deeper water, go towards the inlets and passes out into the ocean, because that's where they're going to start to spawn. So during the winter time, excuse me, yeah, you can catch flounder, but they're going to be the short males, probably no bigger than about 14. You may catch a 15, but usually most of the males are 12 to 14 inches. And then come about that, March, April timeframe, the big females will start working their way back into the creeks. And, then you can start catching the bigger fish. But, if you want to move offshore, find the wrecks, go offshore, that's where your bigger flounder are going to be this time of year. So like I said, I did catch that 16 3/4, which was great, right at the creek mouth. So yeah, you can still hunt and peck and find them, but pretty soon here, the bigger females, they are going to be offshore. So tonight, the topic that I kind of wanted to hit was one that I wanted to do probably almost 2 months ago. And it was basically, the title of it is AI in Fishing. Can ChatGPT make you a better angler? So I got onto, ChatGPT. And my first thought was, if I was going someplace new, a new area, could I plug into ChatGPT, hey, I'm fishing this area, and would it give me tips, tactics, things like that for that area? So I put in, and as a matter of fact, I am going to share this on the screen. So what you're seeing is what I put into ChatGPT. Now, this is Google Docs. So what I did was I put my question in the ChatGPT. It spit this out, and I just copied and pasted that onto a Google Doc so that you guys could see it. So this is everything right from ChatGPT. And I don't know how well you guys can read it, but I highlighted some stuff, and we're going to run through this. So here is what I put in here. I said, I'm fishing Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. I want to catch flounder. Give me where to go and what lures to use. So the reason why I used the Murrells Inlet was because, one, I know the fishery, and I can kind of judge on how good the information is that ChatGPT shot back at me. Is it accurate? Is it not? So that's why I used Murrells Inlet. Yeah, I could have put in someplace down in Beaufort or Hilton Head, but I wouldn't know how accurate it is because I don't fish down there. So I put in that question, and it threw out all of this right here. So it basically said back to me, if you're fishing Murrells Inlet, targeting flounder, here's what I would do and what many local guides do, where to go, how to fish, what lures, rigs, and work best. So it starts where to fish. So the one thing, if you don't know anything about ChatGPT or Copilot or any of these AI generated chat forums, is basically what it does is it will take information from the internet, condense it down, and pop it into short little tidbits and bites that you can digest very quickly. So that is basically what this did. So going back up to here, so it threw out where to fish. And jetties and inlet edges. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Creek mouse and tidal creeks. Yes, we fish the tidal creeks and we know to fish creek mouse. These are things that we talk about every week. So right now, there is nothing that is jumping out here saying, hey, I've never thought about that. I've never done anything like that. So the next one down below that is oyster bars, shell beds, and abrupt bottom transition. So that I was like, okay, so what does it mean by abrupt bottom transitions? And the center column right here, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor or not, but it says it's good ambush cover, has bait, and flounder can lie in wait. Well, that's pretty generic. Okay. So, what exactly does that mean? So that's pretty consistent with oyster bars. Yeah. Good ambush cover and it holds some bait. Yep. Absolutely. And then as you kind of work your way down, it says artificial reefs and wrecks. So again, that offshore area. Yeah, matter of fact, we just talked about it. This time of the year, if you go offshore, that's where those bigger flounder are going to be. And then the last one right down here onto the second page, it said Huntington Beach State Park jetties. So yeah, those jetties up there, which is actually the Murrells Inlet jetties, if you access it through Huntington Beach, absolutely. And it says right here, shore accessibility jetty, good for those fishermen from land. Absolutely. Okay, so there you go. Maybe that's one that, if you're coming down here to fish and that, hey, I don't have a boat, I don't have a kayak, I'm not going to, go out with a guide, then okay, I can deal with that. That's going to give me an area to go to. All right. So now the second thing ChatGPT gave me was tide timing and why it matters. So I'm just going to read the two little sentences that it gave me, and we'll see if it gives us any more new information. So it says, flounder tend to bite better during moving water, incoming and outgoing tide. We all know that, okay? When they ambush bait being pushed, okay, that's when they ambush bait and it pushes past them. So the current is moving the bait. In Murrells Inlet, many of the big flounders stage in creeks or deeper holes and use the falling tide to pick off bait leaving the marsh. Okay, so guys, here on DCO Live, we talk about this kind of stuff. So again, in my mind, this is not new information. This is, as I would put it, this is pretty generic information that it's spitting back at me. So as we're going down, I was like, okay, what's it going to suggest for tackle, lures, and rigs? So tackle, it's saying use a light to medium rod, spinning or bait casting with a sensitive tip. So that's one of the things that, again, we talk about, the medium light action rods with a fast action tip. So, okay, it's given good information, but really nothing new. Fluorocarbon leader, 10 to 20 pound is ideal because it's less visible. Fluorocarbon or monofilament, either one. It doesn't have to be fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon, I think, is just a little bit better on the abrasion resistance. Definitely if you're fishing around the oyster bars, Weston Flats there in Murrells Inlet, it's just an oyster garden. So it may hold up a little bit better onto the oyster. And then it says, use a jig head range from 1/8 to 3/8 ounce, depending on water depth and current. Okay, so that's a pretty good tip. But again, those are things that you guys know about. If it's shallow, no current, very little current, yeah, we're going to go with that 1/8 of an ounce, that 1 to 3 foot water range. If the current is ripping, 4, 5, 6 feet, yeah, you may have to use 1/4, 3/8, half an ounce to get down to the bottom and not let that current sweep your bait past the flounder. Okay, so okay, that's pretty good, but still pretty generic. Okay, and then right down here it says, when using live bait rigs, circle hooks can reduce deep hooking and improved hookups. Absolutely. I like that tip. It's, ChatGPT did a good one right there, focusing on circle hooks instead of like a J hook. So I like that. But again, you guys who are fishermen who go out all the time, you guys know about circle hooks, and I'm sure you guys probably use them all the time. So again, nothing is really jumping out at me yet. So this last one that I have highlighted right down here, I put this little note in. This one I'm going to halfway disagree with, okay? And I put on here the John Skinner video, and I will explain that here in a second. So ChatGPT said, work your lure very slowly, pausing often. Flounder don't generally chase fast moving stuff. They strike when prey is close. So I'm going to halfway disagree with that, because if you have ever seen the underwater footage that John Skinner has, go to his videos. If you just search on YouTube, John Skinner video flounder, I think, or underwater video flounder, I think these are the first ones that pop up. He puts a camera about a foot or two above his lure, drags it on the bottom, and he films how these fish react to these lures. And you would be surprised how aggressive these flounder are chasing down these lures. I mean, they will follow a lure right behind it. They will nip at it until they actually take it. So that is going to be one where I don't really know if I really fully agree with ChatGPT on this one. Okay. Again, it's a pretty general comment that they're giving it, work it slowly. Absolutely. Okay. I agree with that. If you're trolling, I know that a lot of the guys who troll live bait behind their boat, or maybe even behind the kayak, and they're dragging a rig down on the bottom, they say, stay around that 1 mile an hour, okay, and drag it nice and slow and stuff like that. Absolutely. When I am hitting, nice flounder, I'm doing that twitch pause. So again, working it fairly slow, but yet not really slow. I know that's kind of, counterintuitive or stuff, but, flounder will chase stuff down. I know several big flounder that I've caught by ripping it across the bottom of like a mud flat, and I get just drilled with a big paddle tail. So they will chase it down. So you just need to find the pattern. That's probably what I would put, is find the pattern and how the fish want their meal presented to them. So Steve just popped up there. He said that video will blow your mind. Absolutely. So guys, if you haven't seen that video, go over, search John Skinner underwater video and watch those. It is absolutely incredible. So moving back down here, so lures and bait options. So ChatGPT spit out soft plastics, okay? 3 to 5 inch paddle tails, curly tails, shrimp imitations, scented plastics, Z-Man. So again, really nothing new that I wouldn't be taking, fishing inshore someplace else. So if I'm going down the Beaufort, those are the kind of stuff that I'm already taking. But if you're new to coming down to Murrells Inlet to fish, let's say you're from Indiana, Illinois, and you're coming down on vacation, you can plug this into ChatGPT and you may not know about this kind of stuff. So again, it's good information, but does it make the local guy who lives down here a better angler? Okay. Again, right now I am really leaning on, I don't think it does make you a better angler. I think you can pick up little tips and tidbits and things from ChatGPT, but as far as getting above and beyond that general information, that's pretty much what it's spinning out right now. So it comes down a little bit further and it says jigs, live bait, it gives you live shrimp, mullet, mud minnows, small bait fish. Yeah, so that's all really good. Right down here towards the bottom, it kind of wraps up the lures with, in many cases, artificial lures are enough, but having live bait as a backup can help you when the bite gets finicky. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And a matter of fact, Heath, I think you, especially, I'm trying to think, I think you've told me like on some how events, you'll fish like artificials and you'll take like either some shrimp or something with you. So yeah, I mean, guys do it all the time. It's a great tactic to have. If the bite gets tough, throw out live bait, man. Have the cast net with you, pull off on a sandbar and get yourself some of the mullet or shrimp that are popping around and do that. Absolutely. So ChatGPT threw out some strategy and some tips. And the first one is move around. If you're not getting bites after a while, shift locations. Okay. So again, as anglers, and here that we talk about every week, that's things that we touch on. But again, somebody coming down, they may not quite know that kind of stuff. So again, is it good? General information. I don't know if you guys have ever messed around with ChatGPT with this kind of stuff. I wanted to kind of pull away from Flounder for a minute. So I went back into ChatGPT and I changed one word in my question. And the word was, I changed it from flounder to redfish. So I said, if I'm fishing Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, and I want to catch redfish, show me where to go and what to do. And it spit out again in the same format, the areas, where to go, all that kind of stuff. Now, the one cool thing that it did spit out was it spit out some pictures. Now, these didn't download and transfer over to the Google Docs. One did, but it actually threw out some pictures of lures that you can use. And everybody probably recognizes this one. This one's the Redfish Magic, which I use. I love it. And, they use the Rapala Skitter Walk, which is right here. I'm sure that was probably the picture. A spoon, the Z-Man minnows. So yeah, it was throwing out stuff that we use for redfish. So again, not to, beat this dead horse, but if you're down here, ChatGPT, it may not make you a better angler. You may pick up some stuff that you never thought about, but it's really going to give you a lot of general information. You may be able to dive down into it a little bit more and ask some more specific questions. I know that, I use ChatGPT quite a bit, and it does pick up your tendencies, and it will start to almost contour its answers to how you think and what your tendencies are. So, if you were really into catching flounder and you start diving in and getting more specific with your questions, ChatGPT may be more specific with its answers back to you. You would just have to work with it and basically almost teach it. Okay, that's why they call it artificial intelligence. It does learn what your tendencies are, but play around with it if you guys have never done it before. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of see what it would do. I've been wanting to kind of throw that out there for a little while. I'm interested in this kind of stuff, and I was like, well, can it help me at all? And I'm sure, yeah, there's probably some things, but I think the communities that we have and talking with other people, that's how you gain your fishing intelligence, is by talking and sharing in community. I don't think you get it from ChatGPT. So that's just my 2 cents. Don't send me hate mail if you love ChatGPT. Like I said, I use it all the time. And I love it. So hang on. Anthony had a question. Said, did it say anything on how to hook live bait depending on what bait you are using? That is a really good question. And actually, it did. So I am going to slide down here and let me see where I found it, but it did tell me exactly how to hook your live bait. And I'm talking real slow because I don't want to have dead air because that is not good radio. I can't see it. I can't see it. But yes, it did. It told me exactly how to do it. So it said, to keep your bait alive, hook it through its lips, or you can tail hook it. And then it also said you can use cut bait. So hooking through the tail, or maybe like the dorsal fin to keep it alive, and hooking it right through the front lips. You don't want to go too high in the head, like between the eyes, because that's where the brain of the fish is. And if you go between the eyes, you'll instantly kill that fish. But yes, it did tell you how to hook your live bait. So that was a very good question. I appreciate that, Tony. Appreciate it. Steve said, yeah, live bait never hurts. Just don't use it much. Yep. So yeah, guys. So that's what I wanted to touch upon tonight. And I'm going to be out fishing this weekend. It looks like the weekend fishing is going to be really good. I know the winds are going to be down. I believe the tides are basically going to be, so I'm trying to think back to the tide charts. Somewhere right around noon is going to be the bottom of the tide, is going to be low tide. So, it'll be that, outgoing and then incoming, which is one of my favorite tides to fish. I love fishing that, the bottom of the tide right there. So that's going to set up perfect this weekend. The weather is going to be halfway decent. I know even into next week, I think I'm starting to maybe see some 70s again. So that'll be really good. We're going to start seeing the sun a little bit more. I saw the sun this afternoon. I loved it. So I will be out there fishing. Hopefully you guys will be too. And again, hopefully you found that halfway interesting. I know it did me. I know I found it interesting when I was kind of diving in and playing with it. And I do encourage you guys to go and try out, ChatGPT, Copilot, or whatever AI that you guys play around with, and just see what it spits back out at you, and see if it helps you guys out at all. So, guys, I appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and end it tonight. I know Coastal is playing right now. They got the Thursday night game against Marshall. So I'm going to go check out that. And so if you guys, want any stickers, again, just shoot me a message and we'll get hooked up and I'll get those out to you. And we will try this again next week. Now, I do want to put out that I believe, yes, obviously on Thanksgiving, there will not be a DCO live. I was trying to see what day that was. I know it's the last Thursday of the month, but I can't think of the date. I'm thinking maybe like the 28th or something like that. So Thanksgiving, there won't be a DCO live that week. I know it's a few weeks, but I'll just kind of keep reminding you guys. I would hate anybody to jump on here and think that there was going to be something that I never jump on. So, all right, guys, that is it. So if you guys need anything, shoot me a message. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. But guys, I appreciate you as always. If you're fishing this weekend, tight lines, let me know how you do. And I will see you all next week. You guys have a great night.